So I had a little excitement today. Not really. Call it whatever you want. Before I even start, I want to say, yes, you can have a propane tank in your house. And if you can't, then explain to me why every nomad in the world has a little buddy heater and they're traveling around in their RV or their van and they've got a propane tank in their van and they're saying it's totally safe, it's totally safe. But then as soon as you bring it into your house, oh, that's a terrible thing, can't do that. So this is a 20-pound propane tank, and even at that, we just had this major snowstorm, and everybody online, not everybody, but there was a lot of people online, where can I get any propane? Everybody's out. I need my buddy heater, because they lost electricity around here. I mean, of course we didn't, we were on solar panels. So, and I can't figure that out. I know I'm not a prepper. I don't believe in prepping. I think it's a ridiculous idea to be SHTF, stuff's gonna hit the fan. We're all gonna die if we don't prepare. But, oh, there's Skitty. Somebody wanted me to show you Skitty. So there she is, she's up. Oh, she wants to go outside because the stove is on and it's just too hot. You don't like it out here, you'll be knocking on the door in 5 minutes. So, I'm not a prepper, but it seems to me that I try to keep a backup of things I know I'm going to need. I got solar panels for electric and a generator just in case it's cloudy, and water heater. I used to have 2 water heaters, but I only have one now, an on-demand water heater. I got the well, and I also have an IBC tank. I have a backup well pump if necessary. I don't want to use that one, it's too big, but if I needed to, I could. A couple propane tanks laying around. Wood for the wood stove. And a buddy heater in case there's something, maybe the glass breaks out. I even have an extra piece of glass just in case that breaks up in the attic where it can't get hurt or anything. It just sits up there. So, just a couple little things to have laying around. Freezer full of food. I'm not saying 6 months or anything like that. Maybe a little emergency fund in case the car breaks down. You got a little bit of cash to get it fixed. Nothing serious. I mean, it's not SHTF. It's life happens kind of stuff. So I don't understand. I mean, we've been knowing that this storm was going to come for a week, and everybody was on Facebook just screaming and hollering how they're not ready. This is terrible, and they lost electric. I even posted on Facebook that if we're still open for lawnmower repair business, and I'll put an up next box at the end of this video to that video, to the video of my other channel where I'm doing lawnmower repairs now. I also put a link down in the description and the pinned comments and all that stuff. Go check it out and subscribe if you haven't. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. They're not interested in lawnmower repair, but there are a lot of folks on this channel that are interested, and hopefully we can get that channel growing. We can get 1,000 watch hours or 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers, and we'll get it monetized, and we'll be up and running 2 channels. So I even said that we're open in case you need your generator repaired, because I was sure that somebody was going to say, I tried to start my generator, it won't start. Who can fix it? Of course, the roads were so bad, I don't know if anybody could have gotten out to get it to me. But they were asking for firewood. They're still asking for firewood. Well, didn't you know it was going to get cold? It's wintertime. I mean, we're in January, and you're still thinking about firewood. My furnace isn't going to keep up. How do you not know that? You obviously have a wood stove, or you wouldn't be asking about wood, so you've been through a winter before. I really don't understand, and the thing is it's such an emergency that they have no idea how to even compensate for it. I'll give anybody $100 right now if they can bring me a truckload of wood. Well, the roads are bad. Why would anybody want to come out and risk their lives for your firewood for $100? I'm not sure I'm thinking it's worth it. For those who think that Carolyn is fake, she just coughed in the background. That is not an AI or computer or robot or anything. That's Carolyn. I can't believe I still get comments like that. Speaking of Carolyn, since we're on the subject, back to this propane tank. So I showed you a long time ago that you can hook up your nozzle to your propane torch tank. You don't have to refill these. Everybody thinks you got to refill them. You don't have to refill them. I don't even bother buying them. I don't even think you can buy them in California anymore. They're going to outlaw them or something. So you can buy your buddy. This is the buddy heater hose. By the way, there's my buddy heater right there. So this is the buddy heater hose. You just unscrew it from the buddy heater and you put your torch on it, your torch tip. And then you can light it just like you do your torch. Well, I got to do it all one-handed. So, ran out of propane. I don't even know if I'm out of propane in the canister. And the reason I have this canister is because the last propane tip I had, the last torch I had, broke. And the only way you can buy it was to buy the tank and the torch at the hardware store. And it was an emergency, so I needed one. I guess I should have a backup on that. So, this morning, I changed it over. I forgot to say, I don't think it's out of propane because what happened was I took it outside and it got cold. And I think it just lost pressure. I probably could hook it up and it would work again. So, I'm over here and I'm hooking this hose up, and Carolyn was loading the wood stove. I've been out there filling water and doing all kinds of different things, and I was cold, and she knew I was going to be cold when I came back in, so she started the wood stove, and I was really appreciative. That's typically my job, but she does it occasionally, and she'll do it at night. Like, she stays up later than me, so I'll load the wood stove, and she'll light it up when she goes to bed. On those nights, it's going to be really cold. So I turn it on, the tank, and I had snow in the nozzle, so I'm trying to get the nozzle to work. So I grab a lighter, one of those barbecue lighters, you know, those long ones, and I get it to light. Well, I don't want to shut it off because Carolyn's getting ready to light the stove. So I take the nozzle, and this is all I did. I kind of just laid it right here for a second, so it, you know, I wouldn't burn anything. And this was leaking. The valve. It's not now. I don't smell anything coming from it, but it did at that moment, and it just lit on fire. Well, I blew it trying to get it out. Sometimes that works, and it wasn't getting out. So I'm trying to think, what can I grab? What can I grab so I can turn that knob off? I don't want to burn my hands. So I had my coat on, so I pushed my sleeves up over my hand. As I'm trying to figure this out, you know, fractions of a second is what we're talking about. Carolyn gets up, and I'm thinking, oh, she's running away from the tank. Good. I don't have to worry about her safety now. So she won't be in the way. If I got to run this thing outside and throw it down the hill or something, everything will be fine. Well, she comes back, and she's got a towel to smother it. And I'm thinking, you know, this is the first time in my life that I've ever been with anybody or known anybody that doesn't just panic and overact and scream and holler. And I mean, she was just as calm. I mean, she got up in a hurry. I thought she was running away. She got up in such a hurry. But she came back. She didn't just abandon me with the dangerous thing. I remember I don't know, probably 2008, sometime maybe around that time frame. A mouse had chewed through the wiring of our, you know, in the attic. And the breakers, I don't know if you know this, breakers are a terrible idea to me. I think breakers are just stupid. Fuses work so much better. You know, those old-time fuses that used to screw into your fuse panel in your house, when something happens, those fuses just break. Whereas a breaker sometimes will malfunction. They don't always work. So the mouse chewed into it, and the breaker failed. And so we had a fire in the attic, and it came down the wall, and it was pretty bad shape. I woke up at 2, you know, I woke up, and I didn't, the alarm clock was off. So I thought, oh, well, it's just electric. So I went up, you know, got up to go to the bathroom. And as I was walking around the corner, the room that the breaker box is in was on fire. Well, I just immediately started putting it out. I grabbed the dog bowl, threw water on it. We didn't have any water at the time because the fire had melted the plumbing where the water came into the house. So I went outside, shut off the water, and that was a dumb idea, but anyway, turned it back on, and somehow I shut off the water inside the house. I don't remember. And I grabbed the hose because the hose was fine from outside. Grabbed the hose, and I started dousing just what we needed to douse to put out the fire. And my wife at the time, was just in panic mode. I mean, panic mode. And I'm trying to calm her down because she's wanting to call the fire department. And I said, we won't have a house if you call the fire department. They will destroy the house. They will rip down the entire ceiling. They will rip off the roof. We have to make an insurance claim. Our insurance is going to go up. We may lose our insurance. You know, all these things. And, of course, our daughter's in the bedroom sleeping. And she's wanting to wake up our daughter. And I said, she's fine. Is it smoky in her room? No. I said, well, if it gets too smoky, just open windows. And so we opened windows. Carbon monoxide detectors weren't even going off. The smoke detectors weren't even going off. It wasn't that bad. It was contained in this one little room. And she was just panicked the whole time. The only time I started to worry was after it was out and I wanted to go back to bed. Like I said, it was probably, I don't know if I said this or not, it was around like 2 a.m. when all this happened. So I wanted to get some more sleep. And I couldn't get back to sleep because I was just like terrified it was going to happen again. But here, you know, Carolyn jumped into the emergency. And it was a relative big emergency. I mean, it was on fire. It was certainly a problem. Now, again, I know somebody's going to say, you need to take that outside and be more safe. We are safe. We can smell the propane. Carolyn, every time the propane on the water heater starts to go down and runs low, it puts out a propane smell. Don't know why, but it just does. And she'll say, well, the propane's low. And yep, you're right. And so we'll change out the tanks. So I don't see it as a big deal. Like I said, every nomad in the world. That's what's so funny is when we moved into this house, you know, we were nomads. Everybody was fine with our propane tanks inside our camper. When our pop-up camper burned down, the propane tanks were on the side of the camper. Oh, why didn't it explode? You're a liar. It didn't explode. You would have had a huge explosion. No, they have relief valves right here. So as soon as it builds up too much pressure, it relieves. So all that propane comes shooting out. And it's just one big flame coming out of it. So, no, they didn't explode. The other thing is when I was, that house that I was telling you that caught on fire, the room that had caught on fire was about 5 feet away from a massive 500-gallon propane tank. The neighbor's propane tank. It was right on the line of the two properties. If the house would have went up in flames, you know, call the fire department, you know, it'd taken them an hour to get out there, those flames would have hit and it would have been hot enough to release the propane from that tank. So I'm sure it's relatively safe, is my point. That tank actually had a malfunction and it was relieving its pressure. The vent was bad. And every few minutes, just relieve it. And the neighbors called, I guess, the propane company, and they came out and fixed it. So there was only one time I've known about a serious propane event. When I lived in Iowa, my landlord was digging his property to build a doghouse. And while he was digging, he hit the propane line going into his house. So he had a tank, hit the line. Well, over a period of time, all that propane went in through the ground. Propane is heavier than air, so it sinks down. Went into the house and down into the basement and just settled in the basement. So here, the propane tank's outside, everything's fine, but the propane went down into the basement. On Labor Day or Memorial Day, I don't remember which day, but one of those 2 days, he lit up the barbecue pit. He had family over, his wife and children were in there, and the house just blew up. I mean, there was nothing left. It was just leveled. I went out there several months later, and there was just nothing. You saw the little decorative cedar trees that they had laying around. That was it. Things happen. But having this propane tank in here is no more unsafe than having the propane tank outside next to the wall. Rather you not hear about how unsafe you are, you're going to kill everybody. If Carolyn was worried about it, in all honesty, if she was worried about it, she'd say, let's figure out a way to get the propane tanks outside. And we got the camper down there, and the propane tanks are attached to the camper. If the camper catches on fire, I mean, so I just don't agree. And if the house does catch on fire, and the fire department shows up, you just tell them there's propane tanks in the house. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was working on something. So if I can inspire you to have a wife is... No, that's probably rude. To have a partner that is this frightened-free... Oh, wait. Skitty wants back in. She's trying to open the screen door. So whatever it is, I hope you'll live your dreams. Thanks for watching.